What is happening and what are you going to do about it? There are so many scenarios in our lives where the actions that we take and the principles that we hold come into conflict. And I've been thinking a lot about this principle lately, that when we take actions in violation of the principles that we know to be true, it changes who we are. That a single decision deeply, deeply changes who we are, because that willingness to deviate from our principles erodes something in us. It's like telling yourself a lie, and it erodes part of our psyche. And part of the reason I'm thinking about this is, recently, there's been a lot of stuff happening on Twitter, um, and I was just thinking about the concept of, Elon Musk throwing up a poll to see whether to bring Donald Trump back onto the platform. And it struck me, if you believe in free speech, why would you make a poll? The only reason for a poll is so that there's some justification for the action that you're going to take. If you believe that it's right for free speech for the person to come back on the platform, then there you have it. That's your decision. If you don't, then there you have it. That's your decision. But the sort of mentality of, let's put it in someone else's hands, or let's pretend to put it in someone else's hands, I don't like that. And I think those types of decisions are the ones that start to eat away at us. Because ultimately, when it's your decision, when you're the leader of an organization and you kind of want to shift that into someone else's hands, even though you hold certain principles to be true, I think that's going to eat away at you. And we make tiny decisions like this every day. When you pick up a wallet on the ground, and then there's money in it, and or even more clearly than that, if you pick up a $20 bill on the ground, you have no idea whose it is. Are you going to go into the nearest store and give that to the lost and found? Or are you going to say, you know what, it may never find its way back to its owner. Maybe I should just keep it. Those tiny decisions make up what we are. Every single decision compounds to create who we are. And if our principles say no, you need to walk in there and give that to the lost and found, Okay, well then act in accordance with your principles, because violating your own principles is going to change you, and not in a good way. And anyway, that's just something I wanted to share with you guys. I've been mulling over that quite a bit. One thing that I wanted to discuss was this phenomenon of when we get distracted, when there's things that pop up in our lives, especially during the holidays, when we're like, you know what, I'm gonna go do this, or I'm gonna go do that, or I'm gonna participate in this thing. And that's all well and good, so long as those distractions aren't pulling us off course. Are we unable to do the things that we know we need to do because of those distractions? And if that answer becomes yes, then we need to put an immediate halt to what we're doing and say, hey, I got to think this over. I got to figure out how to do this better, because the distractions should not get in the way of what needs to be done on my end. The things that are most important to me. And those side projects, when we're, building a side hustle, or we're working on something on the side, all of those things, they shouldn't take away from the things that are most important to us. They should complement them. You know, your side hustle, your hobbies, they should build you closer to the person that you need to be for your most important goals. And so finding ways to engage in the things that we want to do that complement us, that push us to be successful in the ways that we want to be successful, I think is super important. And on that note, like the way that we spend our time to create value. But then what do we do with the rewards of our time? We take the rewards of our time, and very often we're acquiring things that don't necessarily create value. And I think we need to purge ourselves of the speculation. I don't want to hold anything that I don't believe holds inherent value. I want my assets to be the same as my time, valuable because of the value that they create, the value that they inherently hold. You know, does someone need this thing? Are they going to need this thing in the future? Just like they needed my time for my paycheck. You know, I got paid because someone needed my time. And just like that, I believe our assets should have that same quality. That someone is going to need that asset later on. More now more than ever, I think that's incredibly important, because we're starting to see a lot of the speculative houses of cards falling down. And there's a lot coming. There's a lot of damage coming, and we need to be prepared for when that happens. And we need to be recording our thoughts when we come up with ideas, when we, mull over the nature of things and how we're proceeding with our lives. We need to be recording that and returning to it later. Not just writing it down, but having scheduled times when we go back and we look at our insights, because old insights create new insights. When we go back and look at them when we're in a different frame of mind, that's going to change how we see things. The holidays and all the new stresses that come with them are going to blind us to a lot. And we need to be asking ourselves important questions right now. It's like, is all of this getting in the way of what I'm trying to achieve? Is all of this getting in the way of what I know I need to do? And if it is, what can I do so that it doesn't? And that doesn't mean, not participating in family gatherings, not going out and doing fun things with your family. Like, absolutely, we should be doing those things. But when we do them to the extent that the important goals in our life are suffering, the things that we need to do to make sure that our family is secure and safe, and their future is secure, that's when it becomes a problem. And I think we need to be ready and prepared when all this hits. There's one quote that's been circling in my mind for the past few weeks here, and it's Baron Rothschild's quote. I think Warren Buffett's repeated it. Buy when there's blood in the streets, even if the blood is your own. When we feel the most damage, we need to be ready to secure things of value. So that means having a little bit of dry powder. Just throw it in a savings account that you don't use. Throw a little cash, just siphon it off, and then have a little lump sum there. And when you see a really good opportunity, for something of value to acquire it, then do it. You know, secure that value, lock in the opportunity. Um, Things are looking worse and worse, and I know we want to step away from that during the holidays. And yeah, we should take a break from that. But passively just pocket away a little lump sum, you know, save your save your acorns during the winter. Just have it ready for when an opportunity presents itself, because as the damage happens, valuable opportunities will arise. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope you're enjoying watching the World Cup. And have a great rest of your weekend, guys. Bye bye.